All right, the newspaper segment is next, and I will be starting with The Guardian, with The Guardian newspaper. Circular economy worries as e-waste import rises. Take that again. Worries as e-waste import rises. More Nigerians resort to used items. The ones we call tokumbo, depending on whatever it is, electronics, clothes, thrift, clothing, and the rest of feet rather, used vehicles as well. Almost anything, maybe apart from water, because you can't use and reuse that one. And then you have the pictures of electronics, waste of fans, refrigerators, and the rest. Over 500,000 tons of discarded appliances are processed in the country every year. Invisible e-waste eats $10 billion in essential raw materials recoverable. Invincible. 60,000 tons of used equipment shipped to Lagos ports yearly. Used equipment, just like I said, almost anything. And, you even get to see people say, whatever is tokumbo, has a longer lifespan.
How is that
You have the
possible?
quality, And I used to tell people, whatever you are talking about that has longer lifespan, has more quality, was made as a new one.
Yeah.
No product was made as a bend and select or something to kumbo.
Exactly.
It was made as a new one. Most of the times they are more expensive. That's why. Experts allege weak inspection, secret enforcement of Basel Convention. All right. Stakeholders seek incentives for recycling firms and manufacturers. It's quite a lot. Experts thinking one thing, stakeholders seeking another. Moving away from that, minimum wage, NLC films at governor's move to hijack negotiations. Really? NLC films at governor's move to hijack negotiations. One want to say what's the word hijack doing in this particular story. Okay, what do I know? Again, customs intercept 1.6 billion worth rifles, military fatigues from Turkey. Okay, and I think this is one time. It's good that we're intercepting these. If you remember, 3 or 4 days ago, over 13 billion, no, 4 billion worth of ammunition were intercepted and drugs as well. And you could see the catch. Okay, we'll have some time on the program to look into that. And then you're wondering, are we in an all-out war? Who are these people? Rise in import FX rate spikes duty charges by 200,000 naira in 24 hours. I didn't discuss Kano's release, Obasanjo says. And school pupils swept away. Uh-oh. Commuters stranded. Property submerged in Lagos, Ogun, Dampoa. I think the fatality, it's one that one would not want to see at this time. And we like to encourage parents as well. If the coast is not clear, I think the children better stays at home. It's better you are seeing their faces and all of you are there. Okay, especially if the houses are not submerged. The EFCC accuses public servant of diverting MDA's unspent allocations. As Ladeji will say, okay, it's good to make this in public. But, talking more than doing more, it's not really helping. And then we even hear, was EFCC came out yesterday to say they got, the information that some persons are planning some protest. And they should not do that because they felt or they are feeling that they are being used by corrupt officials who have been prosecuted. They have their responses, by the way, from the people. NERC raises tariff for Band A, Evelyn, Band A, by 1.3%. What band are you? I made calls for reduction. Senate rejects motion to probe security funds used for yachts and others. Again, Senate rejects motion to probe security funds used for yachts and others. Why will anybody want to step down such a motion? By the way, this is all that the Guardian has for us in his front page. Evelyn.
All right, so let's see what Vanguard has this Thursday morning. Vanguard newspaper. Healthcare crisis, high cost of drugs persists as local production flops. With the riders, only 25% of drugs consumed in Nigeria produced locally. 25 out of 100 drugs are produced in Nigeria. 70% drug importation puts more pressure on forex importation, responsible for high cost of drugs. Pharmaceutical sector unique, deserves special policies, PMG MAN says, and delete import duty levy to ensure our survival, Adeosun speaks. FG should introduce reforms utilized in petroleum sector, ACPN. And I think the government should look critically into this. High cost of drugs means that the people will not have access to quality health care. If they cannot afford it, how can they access it? I mean, these are the questions and these are the concerns on the lips of many Nigerians. So the government has a duty to look into this. Some people are bringing out solutions that pharmaceutical sector is unique and deserves special policies. As the reporter said, 25 drugs out of 100 are those that are produced in Nigeria, while 75 out of 100 are produced outside the shores of the country. It's a lot for concern. Flood in Lagos. Lagos witnessed the surge in flood yesterday. And we can see that picture of shops, houses submerged underwater, and flooded Ohiolei Street at Koka-Gudu as a result of a heavy rainfall in Lagos yesterday. Face-off or your CP brokers peace between Sean and Chief Imam. CBN warns banks against rejecting dirty, mutilated Naira notes. I mean, some days back it was dirty and old and lower denomination of dollar notes. Now we're talking about dirty, mutilated Naira notes. Okay, still on Vanguard newspaper this morning. Disco's hike band A tariff by 1.3% to 209.5 Naira per kilowatt. The band A users are complaining at this time. Now we are still having a hike of 1.3%. Now they have to pay 209.5 Naira per kilowatt. This is actually disturbing, really, because those who are using the band A, who are in the band A category, are complaining really heavily.
Some will say it's just 2 Naira 80 kobo. So
2 Naira 80 kobo or so. That 2 Naira, just spread it across. Because the units they have now, they buy for 1,000 naira, they get 5 or less than 5
roughly
units.
4 units.
Do you get? So they are complaining bitterly about what's happening. Although they have frequent electricity supply, so they have that as,
If actually they will be having value for money, by the way.
I think they do. But then it speaks to also equality and equity. This is just for the band A user. What about those that are on band Z or the abandoned category?
Or bandits.
All right, moving on. Unibenstons block Benin Lagos road over power outage. Please return or restore power back to the hostels. The students need it. Lamentation chaos as
Something
flood.
tells me you put some emphasis. Your people are disturbing the community.
This is like home to me. So whatever hits Uniben, hits me.
All right.
Lamentations chaos as flood grounds Lagos and terrorists kidnap Kaduna judge, kill son, demand 300 million naira ransom. This is a sad one on Vanguard newspaper. And you can get more of it on page 13 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Mr. and Mrs. Just for humor. This year's rain is something else. By the way, your friend's house is heavily flooded. And Mr. responding to Mrs. says, poor guy, he was just planning to build an Olympic-sized swimming pool in his compound. So is Mr. saying nature already did that for him? That will be all from Vanguard.
All right, quickly, let me take a couple of papers and headlines as well. Start with the Daily Trust. The Daily Trust newspaper. Quite controversial one in which would get many persons, the antennas are up. LGBT, Nigeria signs $150 billion Samoa deal. LGBT, Nigeria signs $150 billion Samoa deal. And then interesting headlines. Riders, clerics, CSOs, furious. Okay, and another writer says it is not about same-sex marriage. Minister's aide, a National Assembly didn't consider agreement. Rep. Yusuf, many Nigerians will be saying, you people better come out and tell us what you mean by these LGBT, so that whatever the nation and the people are saying we don't want, you people will not through the back door go and sign one controversial deal that would put the country in problem, especially as the National Assembly are saying that they didn't consider any agreement. But the minister's aide is saying it's not about same-sex marriage. So I think they
Did the minister actually read the deal?
That's what we're saying.
Is it speaking from a superficial level of the knowledge he has about the agreement? Because some of these deals, they do not actually take due diligence to go through these agreements page to page. Because we all know what the Samuel agreement is all about. So they shouldn't tell us what is not. Did this minister aide, did the minister himself, because the minister aide is just an aide, he speaks the mind of the minister.
For the boss, yeah.
Did the minister read this agreement? Because it's really concerning. Are we about to do what we do not want to do? I mean, it's a whole lot.
That's why I have to check that, because clerics, CSOs are furious. And this is the time that the minister in charge, Nigerians will not want to be speaking to the aide right now, except the minister is unavailable, or unavoidably unavailable. But at this time, we need to check more to say. All right, let's know the detail. And quickly from that, I will go to the nation as well. The nation, top strip of the nation, customs impounds guns, drones, others at MMIA. I said it the other time. Who are these people? It's not just about the impounding. I think serious interrogation needs to be done to who are the marketers, who owns these containers, a 40-foot container having these billions, billions of naira worth of ammunitions. Oh, that's a lot. And, guns are not used to eat. They're not used to do vacation. Guns are not used for picnics. You know what they are used for. So there must be a grand plan by somebody. And this is the time for intelligence to really work. And we not go back to the route in which Obono Obla said in that interview, some of these things just come and they are returned back to the owners. We hope that's not the situation. Items shipped from Turkey, that's Turkey, one suspect held. You don't just talk about them, the person, the driver or something, or somebody with the manifest. There are big people involved in these. Dogara, federal lawmakers not earning jumbo pay. All right. How much are you earning? That's the question. You people always say you are not earning much. In fact, there have been most of them that will say when they got to the National Assembly, they became poorer. And you people are seeking fourth time and fifth time. That's the issue. How much are you paying? I think it's only in Nigeria that you need forensic experts to tell us what National Assembly members are earning. There was a time Shehu Sani did it and he said he was saved by the Senate president at the time because he wanted to be, they almost suspended him. Band 8 electricity consumers tariff now 209.50 kilowatts per hour. That's Evelyn's band. By the way, all right. That will be all from the front page of The Nation.
All right, from The Nation newspaper, we head on to the Punch newspaper this morning. On the Punch newspaper, 10-hour rainfall, businesses grounded, house collapses as flood overtakes Lagos. With riders, 7 rescued from collapsed building, flood-induced traffic disrupts movement in Lagos, Ogun. There was a particular house building collapse where a 1-year-old was rescued. Right now, we do not know. There's concerns as to the child reportedly, reported to be dead, while some other, reports say the child is still alive.
Rescued,
We hope and we sincerely pray that the child survives this. All right, away from that, Southeast leaders step up moves to free Nnamdi Kanu. Father, son remanded for allegedly stealing 75 million naira from Lagos firm. They say like father, like son, and this is a perfect instance of that. Senate probes $4 billion, refineries repairs, hazardous diesel import. And the National Assembly scores FG law on budget implementation. National Assembly scores federal government law on budget implementation. And Femi, you would agree with me that we've had the 2023 budget, a 2023 supplementary budget, 2024 budget, and 2024 supplementary budget. So if the National Assembly is scoring the federal government law on budget implementation, how then do we continue to have the approvals of this budget and supplementary budget by them?
That's quite a comedy for the National Assembly. If actually they did say that, scoring them low, who approves the elongations of this budget that we're talking about? Now, people are talking about the supplementary budget. If actually is signed into law, that means we will have had 4 running budgets in Federal Republic of Nigeria.
$1.5 billion oil sector divestment deals completed. This is credited to the federal government, and customs intercept 1.6 billion naira military wares rifles from Turkey. Labor private sector protest as discos hike tariff again. You know, Femi thinks it's something minimal, just above 2 naira.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying that.
They shouldn't really take it with such, you know, they shouldn't react the way they are. But then the people, the consumers, that's for industries that are under this band A, the consumers will have to pay for it. Even individuals that have their homes, if they have businesses, they would have to add to their wealth, because I have to be able to pay for what I use at home. You know, I can't go ahead to borrow when I have something I'm doing. I mean, it's alarming, and I think the Minister of Power, rather, Delabu, should kindly look into this. That will be all from the Punch newspaper.
You know, speaking about the power situation and the Band A tariff and the upward review of that tariff now, for a family of 4 and you have active children and you're on Band A, you know, the father, the mother with 2 children, and you're on Band A, you know, with what we have, roughly 4 units for 1,000 naira. You need to become like the man in the house, you and your wife. You need to become the police in that house.
Put that off.
Strict
Take
instruction.
that down.
Because you might end up using like 2,000 naira per day.
In
30 days, that's 60,000 naira just on energy.
Just
you
on
know,
energy.
You know, and if you are talking about weekends, you use more. You know, because those guys, those individuals, I'm talking about children, they're at home. You know, this is a time that fathers wake up 12 a.m. to go and check everywhere. You know, who does this? By 4:30 a.m. people will put off their security light, and you don't put it on by 7 p.m. You say, maybe you can still see, you know, and it's a lot really, because this is especially for civil servants that the government and the organized labor, you know, are still struggling with the improvement of, you know, agreeing on a minimum wage. That's a lot, and that's what part of what labor are saying. You remember, those who are part of labor's demands as well to say, downwardly review these things. Now, the wage has not been approved, that we are now having an upward review, especially from IBDC, at least from IBDC. That's what we are seeing. We don't know what Benin Electricity are doing, or Ikeja or Eko Disco. All right, and lastly, on the front page of this day newspaper, Lagos government calls for calm as flood takes over state. All right, and there was an advisory yesterday. If you're in the lowlands, please find your way to the uplands as well, whatever can make you to just escape that situation. And Evelyn, it's worrisome, not just because it happened yesterday. These an annual occurrence.
Exactly.
Annual, including the highbrow area of Lekki and the Ikoyis. This is what we usually see.
And there have been warnings by NIMET at the beginning of the year that we are going to witness, you know, an increased rainfall this year. And I think the state government should have taken cues from that to put in the measures, the necessary measures they need to put
advocacy.
Exactly. You know, we are very, very reactive in this part of the world. Proactiveness is needed in things like this because the lives that have been lost cannot be retrieved.
Never.
People that, you know, make their way to the hospitals, they would have to pay more to treat themselves. Money, they would say, money we're not even dead yet. That's what we are using to treat ourselves. So I think the government, the state government,
that are very expensive.
That are very expensive.
In a hospital that are not well staffed, people are leaving day by day. You could see the ripple effect.
And the hospitals that are under Band A.
Oh, really? All right. Will be a couple of headlines. Senate flees federal government's poor implementation of 9 trillion capital components in budget to investigate importation of hazardous petroleum products. Finance Minister explains delay in electric and CNG vehicles takeoff, says forensic audit on ways and means ongoing. Really, this CNG, I think it's that time the federal government just forgot about it. Since December, I remember we have been on this CNG. Are those CNGs produced from Jupiter or Uranus or something? Excuse us, but then with 800 violent attacks, 7,000 deaths, TOGA calls for joint action against terror. We'll be talking about that in course of the program. Senator just probe of past military equipment funds spending on varsities yard. Why will the Senate, the National Assembly, be saying no to anything that has to do with, accountability, irrespective of whose ox is God? It's a lot, really. But, that's what time will permit this morning as we take a pause right now. When we come back, we're speaking to issues, especially security, with what we are seeing. A few days ago, there were, multiple suicide bombings, in Goza, in Borno State. Are we back to the 2014-15 era again? What is happening? What is going on? What is fueling these? All these will be answered as a critical stakeholder in that particular sector. You know what they say about security? It is everybody's business. It's Simon Spring on Western Spring Television. We'll be back.